Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to Main Street Sports. I'm Cody, that's Kale. We have a lot to jump into tonight. Obviously, first, I just want to say like, follow, subscribe, rate 5 stars. Just share us with 3 friends. Hopefully, they keep it going along. And Kale, if there's anything you want to add, jump on in.
Yeah, boy. Gosh, what a week it was. I know we're going to jump into a ton of different things today with coaches getting fired. Obviously, week 8 was as good as a weekend as we've seen in probably all season, too. I mean, it's just been great football so far. And then obviously we have our top 30 we're going to reveal tonight, too. So,
yeah, we'll get things started with Billy Napier gets canned from Florida. It's something that we knew was coming down the line, just a matter of when. And today, on the 19th of October, Florida said, "See ya, Billy."
yeah, it's been a long time coming, it feels like. I mean, it's just been a speculative thing all season long, like when's it going to happen? When's it going to happen? And we finally get that announcement today.
Yeah, so this just came to me. I don't know why I didn't ask you this before. Is Billy going to get a segment on game day now, or is that only a tear down the Big Ten thing? They don't want to make the SEC look bad.
That's kind of an interesting. That's funny. I mean, maybe you never know.
Dude, that segment was so pointless. They're like, what did they think that Franklin was going to say? He's not going to badmouth Penn State. The guy's trying to get another job. Like, he's going to be completely like full of class and dignity and just, it is what it is. It's time for me to move on. Good luck to Penn State. Like, they weren't going to get anything juicy.
Yeah, it was kind of interesting to see what kind of a take that they were gonna get because like I forgot that it was even being was on, and Levi texted on there in our group chat something about it being at Penn State Bash Fest. So I didn't know who that was coming from, whether that was Franklin doing that or if that was the hosts trying to get him to
Nick
bite.
Saban.
Yeah, I understand that now after watching the segments
You did get
back, but I was at the time I was like, no way is Franklin going on there and just freaking blasting Penn State. I actually thought I was like, well, maybe what if ESPN paid him a bunch of money to say a bunch of BS about it?
Yeah.
I wouldn't put it past him, but obviously that didn't happen. So
yeah, so it's likely we'll be seeing James Franklin coaching next year. I am going to go out on a limb and say it won't be Florida because, as Josh Pate has alluded to for about a week and a half now, he has said that Lane Kiffin to Florida is all but a lock.
Yeah, that's crazy. I wonder, just through the whole circumstances of everything, Lane Kiffin fits Florida. His personality, his style, everything about Lane Kiffin just, reeks. It reeks of Florida. You saw him at Southern Cal. You saw him at USC. You saw him at Bama and all this stuff. But I think he fits as a, beachy, a beachy school vibe. You know what I mean? You kind of get the SoCal thing. Now you got the Florida thing. The only other place.
Yoga before the Georgia game.
Yes. Yeah. With the. Yeah. Yep. I would 100% agree with that. So.
Yeah, and then the other firing today was a Norvell, not the Norvell we thought. Jay Norvell was let go from Colorado State.
Yeah, it's kind of an interesting thing. I thought he's kind of gotten he has an intense type of personality.
Yeah.
And I kind of thought that it kind of fit the Mountain West mentality and that kind of thing. But man, there's something about Colorado, and being a university town on top of being a, I mean, I'm just gonna say it, like being a blue state, like doesn't scream physical style intense,
Yeah.
commitment to whatever. And so like, but I did think that he was gonna have Colorado State in the right direction because 2 years ago I thought they were, trending in a positive direction. They kind of had
Yeah.
a young quarterback that was kind of a gunslinger type kid, and like I don't even think he's played every game this year. Like I think
Yeah.
he's been
Got
benched.
Lucy.
Yeah.
Well, and they had
So
that stud defensive end Kamara, but he graduated.
yeah, and like they had that receiver, Torrey
Horton.
Horton.
Yeah.
Like he was obviously a big time player for him. They just don't have the just hard at Colorado State to kind of have the guys, from a depth standpoint, and across the board, like
Yeah.
all 22, type thing.
Yeah.
Where
So the
that,
reason that this scares me a little bit is, to me, the perfect replacement would be Mike Eckler, special teams coach at Nebraska, because of his Midwest ties. Being from around here, he's coached at Kansas State, coached at Nebraska, coached at Tennessee, back at Nebraska. Like, he's seen a little bit of everything. And then on top
mm.
of that, just like, he just needs that chance to get a head coaching like position to prove himself.
So like when he has he ever been a defensive coordinator?
That I don't know.
Because he was linebackers coach
Yeah.
here the first time, and now he's the special teams coordinator. Like, has anybody ever made that jump from a special teams coordinator to a head coach right away?
Mm, I don't know off the top of my head.
Yeah,
I'm
like
sure it
that's
has happened.
that's something that I would like to look into to see because like would he even get a fair shake because of that? Like has he
Yeah.
he hasn't been a like I think he'd be great as a head coach. Like that's
Yeah.
not the angle I'm playing. Like I'm just saying like has he had the
Or
type of
yeah.
career thus far to get a head coaching gig? I don't think so. But because I'd be hopeful that he would not because like I think he's done a great job with special teams at Nebraska, and you really don't want that kind of guy that brings that juice to be gone. So
Yeah. Nebraska can use some juice. Um, we can let that lead into our recap for the weekend. Let's just start right with Nebraska gets a freaking belt to ass from Minnesota for the fifth straight time. Um, I mean, I my thoughts were pretty much the same as we see in every Big Ten game. The way to beat Nebraska: play defense, punt, and just wait for Nebraska to make a mistake.
yep, unfortunately I I have so many thoughts on this, but for the sake of what this show is all about, like I'm just gonna say that like I think that there's issues with the offensive line. I think that there's issues with play calling. I think there's issues with scheme. I think that there's just a top to bottom like disconnect
Yeah,
like that's happening where there's moving parts that like it's just not something just isn't clicking, and I have my own thoughts on that kind of stuff, that deserve probably more attention than what we're going to give this game, but holy smokes, like it's just gotten to be very tiring
yeah,
waiting, waiting and waiting, like you thought I really bought into this. And you know what? Maybe Nebraska rights the ship this week and they beat Northwestern, and then they get right, and maybe they knock off USC or something dumb like that, that you
yeah,
just don't think is going to happen, and then all of a sudden the momentum's going crazy, and maybe you get to 9 wins still. I don't think we get to 9,
yeah.
but that's off the piggyback of this debacle. So like, it's just kind of you're kind of in that just wait and see mode until you see
So,
them play again against Northwestern.
so my like biggest pushback against Nebraska fan base right now is everyone wants to talk about the distractions this week.
That's
To me,
stupid.
that game was not about distractions. To me, 100% Nebraska got outcoached.
Yeah, there. I don't believe for a second that that distractions were in play. Like that's not. that is not. I don't know. I don't think that that's a thing. Like it doesn't keep you from playing hard and wanting like I don't know. I don't buy those things as much as people like to make a story out of them because eventually like we live in social media space like you don't people don't talk about
Yeah.
distractions like that back in the day like I don't know. It's hard for me to I agree with you. Like I think that that's a it's a horrible take, you know, like that's not what it was about. So
Yeah. And yeah, just
but the reason for people to take it that way is because they want to have some stupid excuse to say like, well, our players didn't, you know, it wasn't our players' fault. Like there's no weaknesses on this team. They were just distracted. Like no, you got to call a spade and it's like,
yeah.
dude, we're not a national title team. We have crazy weaknesses. Like we're a young roster, you know, like
Yeah.
all that type of stuff. And as much as we always get into this freaking impulsive like emotional tie-in during games, I think the majority, maybe not the majority, but I know at least specifically the four of us in our text group have a pretty good grasp of what's like
Yeah.
what's actually going on. You know, like we're not gonna just give all these overreactive hot
Yeah.
takes that aside from maybe like right then, but then we come down off of that immediately the
Well, and
next
that's why,
morning.
like, Saturday morning, my first text was, "We're not talking Nebraska today, guys." And then we proceeded to talk Nebraska for the next 4 hours until kickoff.
Yeah, well, when you start talking football at freaking 7:30, 7 o'clock in
Yeah.
the morning, and all you're doing is waiting around for college football to
Something
start,
else to
like,
talk about.
yeah, yeah,
Um, yeah, I know you'll take a deeper dive on Fastlane on that. Just straight
yeah.
up to me, Nebraska got outcoached, and there's something to just. I think the offense is confused. Guys don't know who to block, and
I will say that if you're listening to this right now, like you'll because of what Cody just said, like there's the offense is confused. If you want to hear more about that, you need to be on watch for my Fastlane episode because I'm going to hammer a post by this guy on X that dove into this way deeper than I would have and I mean, the whole show is basically going to be about Nebraska and Minnesota. So I'll dive into that stuff
yeah,
in Fastlane. But
yeah. So then,
it's relevant to what Cody just said. So
and then the other Friday night game, and Levi texted us what Wednesday. He said,
yes,
I think Louisville's going to beat Miami."
dude, what a call! What a
Yeah,
call! Now they had to obviously they had to have a bad game out of Carson Beck, you know, to do it
yeah,
because you know anytime you throw four interceptions, it's going to be hard to win a game. But I was also impressed with Louisville's offense and like they were pulling out everything
yeah,
out of the playbook. I mean, they were putting three quarterbacks on the field at the same time,
yeah,
like just confusing looks and all this type of stuff. And from the word go, I felt like they kind of had Miami's defense on their heels
yeah,
a bit. And then there was times Miami would settle, and then it was like, okay, Miami is going to end up winning this game, and like it just never obviously happened. And so now it's like the ACC race is so freaking crazy right now. Like Miami might not even have a
yeah,
chance. Like they have to have help.
yeah.
Like because the people that hold their own destiny, like are holding their own destiny, is freaking Louisville, Virginia, and
Louisville's got a loss.
right, but they have the tiebreaker over Miami. So I'm
Yeah,
saying they have to have another loss on that
yeah.
schedule. And like an SMU is also
Then
in
you
this
got three
mix too.
teams without a loss in the conference.
Yeah, Georgia Tech, you know, like dude, the this does not look good for if you look at the schedules moving forward
Yeah,
and the way that these teams have played, like Virginia looks like they could win out,
yeah,
Louisville looks like they could win out. Georgia Tech is going to probably I think is probably going to win out after the way they played against Duke.
yeah,
You know, like Miami's going to be sitting there at 11-1, not play for a conference title, and then obviously, you know, they'll make the playoff at 11-1.
yeah. I do want to say that right away. Miami is 11-1. They're going to the playoffs, whether they're in the ACC championship or not.
Right, and that's the one thing that SEC morons don't want to hear because it's like, oh my gosh, there are going to be two teams in the ACC that come out of that conference, just like last year. But
Yeah,
like, then Notre Dame, who didn't drop this game against USC, is going to be in the mix, and so this whole pipe dream of freaking, oh, we're going to have 6 SEC teams in the
yeah,
playoff is so absurd. Like, so I'm rooting for the ACC to kind of play this whole chaos scenario out so that
yeah,
Georgia, the ACC champ, has to get in, plus the perception of Miami and what
yeah,
they have already moving forward. And then the same thing is true with the Big 12, with like, that's another one because Cincinnati and BYU are sitting there at the top of the conference undefeated in conference play.
yeah,
And the darling Texas Tech has a loss to Arizona State, who's like, now there's tiebreakers there that's just like, holy smokes, dude. Like,
yeah,
we're in for some wild rides as we thought we would, especially out of the Big 12.
yeah, and it's gonna be fun. I hope ACC and Big 12 get two. They're deserving of it with what they've shown
Mm-hmm.
because as much as I was joking yesterday, like you do have to take into the effect that Texas Tech didn't have Baron Morton in that Arizona State game.
Absolutely. That's 100%. I mean, and I
Like
know
I
that I
know I was
was
playing devil's advocate yesterday, but that's just because I like that fun.
right. So I know that on their last episode, though, I talked about how I thought that Will Hammond might actually be better.
Yeah,
Not better, but I mean, I thought that he brought some interesting dynamics to their offense that Baron Morton doesn't with his legs, and that kind of thing. And that obviously didn't play out the way that I thought it would. But at the same time, Texas Tech, as you pointed out, was missing their best pass rusher, I think.
he played.
So
He played.
okay, so then
Yeah,
okay, well, and being on the road at you know in Arizona State, road games are always tougher, and like it's kind of fun, like I just don't want to see personally, I just don't want to see the SEC have this whole like you're already all playing each other. Like I
yeah,
saw this guy on X today, he kind of got after us, me really on X, and was like talking about how these 6 teams were going to be in there, and Heather Dinich is on this freaking thing too, and I don't know. It's like, why would we want to see the same thing? Like, we already saw these games be played. Like, why do we
yeah,
want to see 7 repeat matchups?
yeah.
Like, that's not the point of this whole playoff.
And I mean, you have to account for the SEC was dog shit last year in the postseason.
Yes, just because of the AP preseason poll is why this whole narrative has
Yep.
been pushed. If you change that where no rankings exist at all, and
Yeah.
you do some sort of like, and I hate saying this because you can't just go as simple as like doing an NSAA PowerPoint system, but the idea of the BCS rankings,
Yeah.
where it's an ever evolving like point total where you can that's not based on anything subjective. It is
Yeah.
only objective. And I said this on freaking Fastlane last week. You can come up people way smarter than me that know how to work Excel sheets and all this type of stuff to where you can just have plug in these stats or whatever, and now you have this system in place. But do it off of the fact that's like you get multipliers for points if you're on the road and if it's shitty or crappy weather, and like like all I don't know. It's a whole slew of things you can get into with this stuff, and it doesn't have to just be strength of record based off of AP
Yeah.
poll preseason
Yeah.
bull crap. So
And everyone's like, well, rankings don't matter. Well, they do because they force a perception.
that drives the entire conversation
Yeah.
from the word go at the beginning of the year. Like everybody's still stuck on this. Like X users, SEC numbers guy, the X user, he's always like, "Oh, the SEC has this record or has this many wins against ranked opponents this year and compared it across conferences." And it's like,
Yeah.
"Well, yeah, because you guys have this egregious amount of teams that are ranked in, from the preseason
Yeah.
perception." And when your preseason champion Darling and like goes 0-2 or whatever it was. They went like 1-2, and now they're 4-2. Like they never really fully dropped out other than the 1 week.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know,
they're 4-2 because they got lucky that Dante Dell fumbled or missed the dive last night, I should say.
yeah. But I mean,
Down.
but just like most people are going to be like, well, geez, that's just because Kentucky's actually pretty tough.
Yeah, they're
Like,
SEC.
geez, I mean, they should. Kentucky probably should be ranked number 16, right?
Yeah,
You know, because there's only 16 SEC
with
teams,
Arkansas at
so
15.
right, that's absolutely right. Like all the SEC, just put them all 1 through 16, and then don't even put a 17 through everyone else. Like that's
Yeah,
just, I mean, it's the SEC, right? So
yeah. Yeah, so Saturday morning got started off with Bang, led by Haynes King and Georgia Tech.
boy,
You
that
still
was
doubting them?
well, it sure felt
You
like
talked
Duke.
about the flip we did.
I know, and I still, man, Manny Diaz probably just has to be sitting there today, being like, man,
Yes.
there. It still feels like we should have won that game because they just moved the ball, moved the ball,
Yeah.
moved the ball, moved the ball. Couldn't finish. They could not finish. They'd cross get in the red zone and they wouldn't even score. Like they missed
Yeah.
field goals. They
They
fumbled a
fumbled on
ball
the one.
on the one.
Yeah.
You know, like I mean, just the Georgia Tech team. Those guys just had some magic go their way because Duke really did. I feel like outplayed them from an offensive perspective.
Yeah. And Georgia Tech just continues to keep winning.
Here's a guy that I think doesn't get enough credit. Well, actually, two guys. We always talk about Darian Mensah
Yeah.
for Duke. Like this is still a scary team moving forward. Quayshawn Brown, the sophomore receiver, he's a little scat looking back, like kind of built like Wandale Robinson. Dude is a playmaker.
Yeah.
And then their taller possession type dude was catching had probably I don't know, he probably had like 12 catches yesterday. Barcat, I don't know. That dude's really good too. I was impressed with those guys and how they move the ball, and their running backs are pretty good. Like, man, Duke's a problem. Like
Yeah.
they just got to figure out the ball security issues. It's the same
Yeah.
reason they lost to Illinois. So
Um, another 11 a.m. Central kickoff. Vandy goes and the score doesn't indicate that game. It was 31-24. They beat LSU, but Pavia was Pavia.
striking the Heisman pose.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if some people have him number one this week.
Well, Carson Beck took a nosedive.
Yeah.
I didn't want. I mean, I had that game on the other TV. It was not on the sound, obviously. But man, Vanderbilt's offense is a problem as well. Like they're so. I really like their offense. I like how they can move the ball. I thought their defense was really kind of iffy, and that's
Yeah.
really their hang up. You know, like they're gonna have to potentially. They're not built to be in these 17-10 games like Auburn seems to be in.
Yeah.
You know, like Vandy has to put up 30-ish points to beat somebody.
Yeah.
You know, like because their defense, like man, some missed tackles, and like LSU's offense is not very good. Like, I guess for all intents and purposes, they should be because of the players they have, but they just haven't meshed as well as you'd think. But like the one play that they scored on a big play on this side of the like on our sideline,
Yeah.
Vandy like had the dude stopped like for a 1 yard gain, and then like it was like Tommy Frazier versus the Florida Gators. Like
Yeah.
he broke like 50 tackles and then scored. And it felt like Vandy every time that they would get a 2-score lead, they would let LSU come right back to make it a single score game.
Yeah.
You know, like that was a little irritating.
Those Vandy tight ends are so dang good, dude.
Stowers, dude, he's
Yeah.
good. He's very good.
He came with Pavia from New Mexico.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, Michigan 24-7 over Washington. Washington's offense just could never get anything going.
3 picks by your boy.
Yeah.
Damon Williams, like that. I mean, I didn't watch a ton of this one either. Like it was just on the other TV, and it never felt like it was really much was
No.
happening in the game. Like I was surprised that it got
It
to
was
24 to
7 and a
7.
half.
Yeah. Well, the second half Huskies were not the second half Huskies we've seen the last 3 weeks.
No.
So
And yeah, it was just they couldn't get anything going. Coleman would have spurts, but never anything
he only had
consistent.
50 yards rushing.
Yeah, and I'd say most of that came about on 3 runs.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm like you always keep talking about how he's the best running back in the conference, and I'm like, is he? I mean, I think from a talent perspective he should be, but it just feels like I have him on my fantasy team, so I kind of have a better idea that like his fantasy numbers have totally taken a nosedive
Yeah.
in the last couple weeks. So, like the way he started the year, I was like, geez, this guy should be. Well, I mean, we had him in the Heisman watch,
Yeah.
so like, but I don't know, something's up with the old Jed Fish offense right now.
Yeah.
So, but I think they're having issues with their offensive line as well.
Yeah. And then it's just like we talked about earlier. It's just tough to go on the road and win, no matter what conference.
Yes, especially those Pac-12 schools that are newly
Playing
in
at
this
9
conference.
a.m.
Yeah, I mean it's a problem for the teams. Like it's just such a weird dynamic,
Yeah.
So I don't know, Maryland all the way out to UCLA in a conference game, like that's so
That's so
freaking
wild,
nuts,
man.
so crazy. But then Florida State's playing a conference game in
Yeah.
freaking Stanford.
Yeah.
Like at Stanford at 9. I mean, it's freaking 1 o'clock when that game ended in our time. So
Yeah.
it was 2 a.m. for Florida State.
Yeah.
You know,
Um, Oklahoma just wrecked South Carolina.
didn't
Just,
watch a single snap of that.
I went back and forth. I watched a little bit of it, and every time I watched, it was just Florida, or not Florida, Oklahoma just moving the ball, running,
I've
passing.
I did see some social media presence talking about Beamer needing to freaking get canned.
Yeah.
So like, I mean, social media presence is what it is, but
Yeah.
especially on X. But like, that's the first I've heard of that.
Yeah,
I haven't heard any of that floating around until this. So
but I mean, I said it from the beginning of the year. They have 2 players on that team, and everyone was basing it off of Norris Sellers can be the #1 draft pick, and Dylan Stewart. He's only a sophomore, so he can't go. But they're like, he's the best defensive player in the SEC, and blah blah blah. It's like you guys put him in the top 10, and I just didn't understand why.
yeah, it's quite the deal because like when I looked at my picks Saturday morning and I was putting them in my spreadsheet for my own little tracking thing on Bovada, and I thought to myself, I was like, I seriously picked South Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
I picked South Carolina. Like, why would I in a million years would I do that?
Yeah,
Like I knew that their offense was
because you hate
awful,
Oklahoma.
but I know that Oklahoma's defense is really good. Like it's
Yeah,
good. And I just completely was like I played up the whole thing that was like, well, South Carolina's defense is okay, it's pretty good, and I don't think Oklahoma's offense is very good. And I had a horrible take last week. I'm just gonna say that.
yeah,
Like that was me. That was a hope pick that
yeah,
I'd say not to do.
yeah. And then afternoon games, Georgia outlasts Ole Miss 41-36. And
Man, that was crazy. That was a wild game all
yeah,
all day long.
yeah,
Ole Miss jumps out, and it's just like, and then Georgia's defense is not good, but they got the stops when they needed it
yeah,
because at one point Ole Miss I think when Ole Miss got the ball back after Georgia took the lead, Ole Miss had 1 yard of offense in the fourth quarter.
yeah.
And Georgia had like 160 or something
Well,
stupid like that.
we talk about Kirby's second half adjustments.
Yeah, but that didn't come to fruition though, really all that much until that fourth quarter, because the
Yeah,
third quarter Ole Miss was still putting it on them.
yeah. Just takes
So
time, yeah.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, that was
Um,
a great game. Great game, really. I know Colin's probably pissed about that. But hey, guess who covered? Guess who covered?
who's that?
Georgia covered.
Yeah,
When I got laughed at. I got
yeah,
laughed at because I said the week before that Gunner Stockton sucks. Well, what's true one week doesn't have to be true the next.
yeah. Um, one game I did not watch a single snap of, but we should mention it. SMU does stay undefeated and beats Clemson 35-24. I don't think
Oh my
Clemson ever
gosh.
had the lead in that game.
No. But Dabo, oh my gosh. Did you see Dabo's his little press conference thing?
No.
He talked about how he's like, yeah, like he said something about he's like we've won a lot here, and we're gonna win again here, like he's like we're not done winning championships at Clemson, like he goes it might not happen this year, he's like but we're it's it's a low point right now, but we're gonna be I promise you we'll be back. He's
Yeah.
the whole Dabo thing, and it's
Yeah.
like you probably will if you start dipping into the portal,
Yeah.
but if
I
you
think
don't,
he's going to this year. I don't
well
think he
he's
has a
gonna have
choice.
to. I think
Yeah.
he's probably been directed that he has to if he wants to stay there.
Yeah.
So
The absolute toughest game to watch this weekend. UNLV gets boat raced by Boise State. And for the glove of God, Boise State, do whatever you have to do with your media partners. Never play an afternoon game again.
oh my
That
gosh,
field was atrocious on TV.
if you have to play an afternoon game, at least do it in November when it's darker
Yeah.
earlier, so then we don't have to watch. I mean, because that's so. I love the blue turf. I do. I
Yeah.
know, and I know you do too.
Yeah.
But it's like,
I mean, we went out of our way to go visit the stadium when we went to Portland. Like,
yeah, yeah. So like that was. I mean, I would love to do that too. But like, and I like watching it. But man, it's so hard with the shine
yeah,
that the
dude, it
sun
was,
has. I mean, if it's cloudy, too, that's not going to be as bad. But
yeah.
like, oh my gosh, either that or put it in a dome. But you don't ever want to do that because
I love
snow
outdoor.
when it snows in Boise on the blue turf in late
Hmm.
November, and they're playing up there. Like that's like one of my favorite things to watch.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Um, and then the best game of the day. Um, we have a buddy who had to take that Sam Levitt is absolute garbage and just sucks. And all he does is lead Arizona State on a game-winning drive to knock off number 7 Texas Tech, 25-22, 26-22.
oh man, I hope he listens to this because he's gonna have his rebuttal on my last one, and now you're just ripping him.
Yeah,
Anyway, I wish I would have watched more of this game. I saw honest to God, like I don't honestly have a very big opinion on this because,
yeah,
but I remember thinking when the line came out and it was only 6.5, I was like, only 6.5,
yeah.
and I knew that Baron Morton wasn't playing, but for
And
God's
Daly, they
sakes,
didn't know if Daly was going to play or not.
right? And it's just like, and Arizona State had just gotten done being destroyed by Utah when they didn't
With
have Sam Levitt.
yes, and they didn't have. Dude,
I know, but
how funny! They put Sims in to run a wildcat play, and he freaking fumbles. Thank God they recovered it, but my, have they not
something
learned?
something us Husker fans know all too much about.
Yeah, that was abysmal. Penn State, Iowa. You didn't believe me
Hmm.
that Penn State would play tough. And Iowa gets a win on a last second field goal.
I don't see your Iowa hat. Where is it?
Well, it doesn't get shipped overnight.
Yeah, actually, Penn State was up in that game like 21 to
The whole
9
game.
or something. Well,
They were 21-10.
one of those was freaking stupid though. That freaking
Yeah.
field goal that
Kirk
I
Ferentz
would
has never done that in his life.
yeah, that was surprising. And why he felt the need to do that. Now, Penn State ran the ball really well.
Yeah.
I was shocked at that. I mean, and they just fed Katron Allen the ball. Like Nick
Yeah.
Singleton only had 6 carries.
Yeah.
And so I watched the majority of this game, and you can call me an Iowa homer all you want, which is never going to be true on this planet ever.
Okay, Iowa homer.
But just because just because of what I've been saying about Iowa the last couple weeks, I had to watch the entirety of that game. And
Yeah.
I was kind of disappointed with the way their defense played, and but now maybe there is something. I mean, I thought their backup quarterback, was it Grunken
Something.
Miller, like that, the for Penn State, like he played pretty well.
Drunkenmeyer.
He played pretty okay. Like
Yeah.
they didn't throw the ball a lot, which why would you? I mean, I don't think a single Penn State guy had more than one catch.
Yeah. And this was the Mark Gronowski game.
Oh my gosh. Dude, he had 68 yards passing, but man, he is a problem on the ground, and
Yeah.
Iowa's got that you have the best offensive line in football, and now you're getting into quarterback run game where it's designed power and all that kind of
Yeah.
stuff where you're out of the gun because
The
they
dude's got
were
11 rushing touchdowns on the year.
they were only running under center and running him on bootlegs. Now you're actually
Yeah.
running him between tackles and stuff, and like this is a problem
That
moving
third
forward.
down call on the final drive was absolute masterclass. The bootleg.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yep. Where he was
That's going for a touchdown if he doesn't slide.
Well, here's the thing.
But you get why you slid.
Yeah. Because if you go score a touchdown, you're still only up 8.
Yeah.
So
yeah, 100%. But like I'm saying though, that just like the play call was so beautiful, no one was within 10 yards of him.
I just want to say that because why not just add Collins' take into this? Because he hates Iowa so much, and Husker fans probably should. And I up to about 2 weeks ago, I couldn't stand Iowa either, but I just feel like the stats prove that Iowa on defense and what they do on offense, like they flip the field. Ferentz does not play the whole analytics game where it's like on 4th and 3 at your own 50, go for it. I hate that.
So do I.
Because if you pin them deep, and Jay Foreman said this actually on Friday night, that when you pin somebody deep, and if you can get a 3 and out, it's basically a turnover because then you're catching the ball at the 50.
Yeah.
You're starting your drive over again at the 50, like play field position. That's what Urban Meyer says that, and he had an explosive offense. Like just pick up 2 first downs to flip the field. That was the goal. Every offensive drive,
series.
everyone, freaking pick up 2 first downs. That way you flip the field, make them have to drive the field, and then play defense. And like that's why I respect Iowa. I do. I used to hate it because I thought it was boring. And I had a somewhat of a philosophy change 3 weeks ago, and now here we are. Now you guys can call me an Iowa fan. I'm not an Iowa fan, but I know that you will call me that till the rest of my life. So, in any case.
As soon as I wear this freaking hat for 3 episodes, it's getting shipped to you.
Send it.
You can put it up with your Oregon and Nebraska stuff.
Send it over. I'm gonna go to Iowa City and I'm gonna have Phil Parker freaking sign that thing.
Are you ready to say Iowa beats Oregon?
No, not yet.
Okay. Oregon looks.
I
good,
might have actually said that had you asked me that question last week.
You did, because I asked you last week.
Well, I know, I said that, but I mean, like, I didn't come out and
I'm gonna ask you every week until that game gets played.
It'll be interesting.
I know Rutgers is bad, but 63-3. You think they were a little pissed off?
Yeah, that was a fun one. I saw this thing floating around, and I actually pitched it to you guys too, and I don't think you guys took me seriously. But now I'm kind of wondering because of the way. Remember how Dan Lanning did that thing against Ohio State in Oregon. What was that? That freaking thing they changed the call for. Oh, the 12th man?
Yeah.
The 12th man thing, and then then they changed the rule because of it.
Yeah.
So when Dan Lanning is one step ahead of people, which he normally tends to be, I am not going to say this officially. Like, I'm not saying this, like, because when Colin hears this, he's going to think I'm nuts. And you're going to think I'm nuts.
Oh, I already know what you're alluding to. Because you
But it's
texted.
like, yeah, so, like, did Dan Lanning lose to Indiana on purpose so that way he doesn't have to play Ohio State twice, potentially? Or have to worry about having the first round bye?
Yeah.
Because that's, I mean, the whole storyline last year was every first round bye lost, in those games.
Yeah.
So like there might be something to that. I'm not gonna go, but the play calling for Oregon against Indiana was so vanilla, so vanilla. Like it was just like it was like watching Iowa. It was crazy. It was crazy because it's like that is so out of character. So
Yeah.
anyway,
Um.
and sorry, one last thing. And because Indiana had such a easy time stopping the Oregon run, Indiana, or like they had a hard time freaking, or they were like Michigan State was kind of doing whatever they wanted at times to Indiana's defense, and so like Oregon's
They were winning that game.
Early, but
They're
like
still winning.
so like I don't know. There's something to I call me an Oregon homer.
So that was what 10-7 with 8 minutes to go in the second quarter. Michigan State. I think it was 10-0 at one point, but it's 10-7.
No, because it was 7-0. Then it was 7-3. No, 7-7. I don't know. It was something goofy.
Then Indiana woke up and put belt to ass.
Yeah.
Now you had your take there with Oregon, and I have my take now. I had Alabama #1, and at the last second, I was just like, "You can't take Ohio State's defending champs; they're undefeated." If you take away the Florida State game, to me, Alabama's been the best team in the country.
No.
Yes.
Why? Because of the gauntlet that they've played that you just got done agreeing with me on.
Look how good they're playing all around, though. Offense, defense.
Yeah, but they escaped at Missouri. Like, you have to understand too. Like some of this that's feeding into your mindset, like is still like you can't play both sides of the coin.
At Missouri, how much have we talked about road games?
I don't care
because
it's tough.
Yeah.
And I think Missouri's pretty good, but like the Tennessee game, like I don't think Tennessee's any good.
Yeah, their offense is
like their defense is bad and their offense is so simple
that their running back got hurt.
Yeah, like I just don't. I don't disagree with your take that Alabama is at least the best team in the SEC because you did have them you had them 4 spots higher than A&M, and I know why you did that. Like, you did that so that the actual poll would reflect. Yes, you did.
What did A&M do yesterday that makes you think they're the number 3 team in the country or 4 team in the country?
They're undefeated.
Barely.
What do you mean barely? They beat Notre Dame.
By 1 on a fluky play. That should have never happened. Arkansas? What's your excuse for Arkansas?
Arkansas, they just fired their coach. They were alive, man. Just like you said.
It's like the 3rd game since they fired their coach.
Yeah, but you
remember what you said? They have Petrino as their coach in waiting. He's going to be their coach anyway.
You're right.
So you can't go back on yourself on there.
I know, but you said that. I mean, you're going against what you said last week.
How?
Come on. How
am I going against what I said?
You said that because they always bounce back after they fire their coach.
They do. What happened to UAB?
They won. They beat Memphis.
Damn right.
You're right. But Virginia Tech, it didn't work out.
He won his first 2.
But it's Wofford. We've already talked about this.
NC State.
NC State's god awful.
Yeah.
They're bad.
But they're winning. Penn State should have won.
Penn State didn't win.
Yeah.
See? Yeah, I don't know. Like Arkansas's offense, we already know their offense at Arkansas is really good. Like it's always been about the defense not being very good. So and A&M, who do they play next week?
I haven't looked.
It's LSU. Probably looking ahead.
Oh, yeah. Was LSU looking ahead this week? Looking ahead of
No,
Vandy?
I didn't say that. But I'm saying
No.
in comparison to Arkansas to freaking LSU, who was top 10 at the time,
Yeah.
might be looking ahead.
No,
And
I just
it's in Death Valley,
yeah.
which I think is going to be horrible for
Okay,
A&M.
I'll call my shot now. LSU wins.
I think LSU is going to win. But
I'll, like I said, I had Alabama. I switched it out at the last second. I had Alabama #1.
I would have thrown your rankings out if I saw that.
Well, you didn't throw Levi's out when you didn't have Old Miss ranked.
Well, I missed it. We did fix this, by the way, if you
Yes.
listen. So
Um, but yeah, Alabama beats Tennessee. USC gave Notre Dame the game last night.
yeah,
Just
that was
three
weird.
consecutive turnovers, and their defense played well
Yeah.
for how long they were on the field.
I just felt like like USC took that lead, to go up 24-21, and then they
Yeah,
give up the kick return was it kick return for a touchdown?
yeah.
Oh my gosh, like Notre Dame though playing for their playoff lives, obviously,
Yeah.
like they've got extra to play for,
This
which
was
is
their
why
last
they're
tough game.
well, they still got Navy.
Yeah,
I'm just kidding. We know how that played out last year.
yeah.
So
And I do like Navy,
I
but
know.
I'm more riding Navy now because that was my pick at the beginning of the season. They have not looked great. They keep winning,
No.
but
They win, but they don't win by much.
no.
They like to keep it close.
Um, Auburn pissed that game down their leg for a second straight week.
Oh my gosh. I missed the last
They
sequence
lost to
because,
Missouri 23-17.
yeah, in
Double
OT,
overtime.
double overtime, yeah. And like I saw Missouri score, like, well, Auburn missed its field goal. Then Missouri missed its field goal. So you're like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
like. But I thought, like Colin said it, like the play calling by Auburn just got goofy there at the end, and I didn't see it because I walked into our bedroom like after Missouri scored,
Yeah.
like just assuming they were gonna win, and and then the next thing you know, that freaking the game's over, and it was like I
Yeah.
don't know exactly how it happened, but Colin said the freaking plays were bad play calls.
Yeah.
So
The final game of the night, and I fell asleep before the end of this one. But I saw your guys' text about BYU wins 24-21 over Utah,
mm.
and something freaky happened at the end of the game.
Well, not the BYU Utah game. That was Stanford Florida State. That was
Oh, okay.
freaking
Yeah.
crazy. BYU goes up. I mean, I texted you at one point though, but
Yeah.
you never because you were asleep. Like I was like, I kind of like the way BYU plays offense. They obviously play tough defense.
Yeah.
They always have. But this Bear Bachmeyer, like it kind of was just like, well, really, how good is BYU? But now it's like, okay, they've got my attention now fully. Like
Yeah.
they just seem to make plays when it matters, and this freshman QB Bear Bachmeyer is really pretty good. Boy, like that was a fun game. That was a fun one. But the one you want to talk about is actually Florida State Stanford.
Stanford, who we thought was going to be 0-12, I guess their third win.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Stanford was on 0-12 watch. We thought that they were not going to beat. Well, they lost to San Jose, didn't they?
I don't remember.
I think they did. But the Florida State travels all the way from Tallahassee to freaking Stanford to go to the farm, and at the end of this game, Thomas Castellanos on the last drive, like Stanford led the whole time. They were doing the whole like Iowa Minnesota thing, like dink and
Yeah.
dunk, freaking 5 yards, 4 yards, then pick up a first down on the sideline, and then like just eating up the clock.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it was kind of interesting. And then, like, as the game's going on, you're kind of like, Florida State's picking up a little momentum. It's like they kind of woke up. And Thomas Castellanos goes on this big, long run. and
Yeah.
just gets freaking flattened as he's sliding. As
Yeah.
he is sliding. Now the crappy thing here is that he obviously gets knocked out. He gets I think he's
Yeah.
in concussion protocol now. But there was a hold on that play, so it nullified the targeting penalty to do a replay of the down.
Yep.
So like they were going to be inside the 5,
Yeah.
after this run plus the penalty, but there was a hold all the way back there. So they're all the way back, and they got this freshman little nerdy, quarterback that was not ready to play until the last drive. He led them down the field, and they got down, they hit like a Hail Mary. This is crazy too. They hit like the super long pass on 4th and whatever to extend the game. There's like 30 seconds left,
Yeah.
and they end up, and then they like run a play, throw it in the end zone, and they get a pass interference call. So there is one untimed down at the 2, and
Yeah.
this is to tie it. This is to tie the game. It's 20-13. They run shovel pass to Gavin Sawchuk, and me and Colin both think that he was probably in. If you guys have not seen this clip, probably go find it on X or something. But like, it looks like he was probably in, but no camera angles had a good view because the wide receiver for Florida State was standing right in the way, like where he like 10 yards away from the formation.
Yeah.
So you couldn't see down the line from the pylon cam, and you can't see any of these other ones. And you can't even fit any of these together to try to get it to where it's in, like. But you kind of had that assumption, like, I think that's a touchdown, but they're not going to have enough to.
Yeah.
So Florida State ends up losing the game, and it's crazy, crazy to
Yeah.
nightcap.
Yeah. What if UCLA goes to the Big Ten championship?
How is that going to happen?
Well, they're 3-1 in conference, and they just got to win every game on their schedule and hope that Michigan beats Ohio State.
Yeah, but that would still goes to the tiebreaker. Would be the highest ranked team.
The highest ranked, but it's just wild that they're undefeated with Tim Skipper as head coach.
Dude, that's a scary group. I mean, they weren't nearly as. I thought with Maryland going across the country, I thought that UCLA was going to stomp a mud hole in the Terps.
Yeah.
Surprised that they didn't. So maybe the honeymoon period's starting to fade a little bit with that freaking UCLA, like, kind of like what you're saying, like, well, it's the 3rd game, like, so maybe that energy is going to start coming back down to earth type thing. And
well, and their schedule could start getting a little more difficult.
You know who is crazy in the Big Ten?
Minnesota.
Yeah, they're 5-2, but you know who's sneaky?
3-1 in the Big Ten.
So is Northwestern.
Yeah.
Northwestern's sitting there at 5-2. They're a game away from freaking bowl eligibility, and like at one point we were all like, they are by far the worst team in the Big Ten until UCLA lost to New Mexico.
Yeah.
And then we were like, oh man.
Well,
and then Northwestern beat UCLA.
I mean, their 2 losses are to ranked teams.
Yeah, Oregon and Tulane.
Yeah.
But I mean, the way they lost to Tulane the beginning of the year was just like, oh my gosh, how bad is Northwestern?
Yeah.
You threw like 5 picks, and like the balls weren't even like Preston Stone is still a bad quarterback.
Yeah.
That's the crazy thing. Like, he did not just get good. His completion percentage is still like below 50. It's bad.
Right now, Northwestern's 4th in the Big Ten on ESPN standings.
Yeah. I saw that.
That's just wild.
Yep.
So you had a question before we get into our top 30. You had a question for me regarding coaches and the coaching carousel.
Oh, so we're talking about all these like coaching contracts. You mentioned how you have to tell me how much the.
So for Florida State to get rid of Norvell, his staff, and hire a new coach, it's going to cost $100 million.
Okay. So with all these coaches, the way that NIL is, and this kind of plays on the idea of what Colin Cowherd said, how some of these coaches, they're not going anywhere because these guys need to also have this money to pay players yet. So like one of two things is true, or probably these two things are probably true. Coaches are going to have a little bit longer leash
Yeah.
potentially because if I mean in terms of like if you can't turn over every 3 years, like you can't.
Yeah.
So like all these firings are not in that category, right?
Yeah.
So like Franklin's been there forever, Napier's been there for long enough, like you know. So I guess my point is like you either give them a longer leash
Yep.
or you start building contracts to be more merit based.
Yeah.
Like more contracts that are built on based on like bonuses for achieving
Incentives.
this, yes, incentives. And like maybe that's true, maybe it's not, but it's like eventually some of these programs are going to be spending so much damn money on coaching staffs
Yeah.
because the culture is now also like win now even more
Yeah.
because of transfer portal. So like the way that Tom Osborne was like, you better win and you better win now because I see this, like when he it's basically when he talked about it like after Frank Solich took over and started struggling.
Yeah.
Like you have to. He was concerned because he's like it's getting so much more into the commercial realm and all that stuff with college
Yeah.
football. Well, it's even far beyond that now. So like, I mean, how many of these programs that are perennial doormats that now think that they have to win if their coach doesn't succeed in 3 years?
Yeah.
Like I don't know. It's just kind of maybe nothing happens. I just think it'd be
Yeah.
to me it's an interesting play. Like some of these schools might have to get creative and just be like, we're not paying you until you start. Like we can't guarantee you this money
Yeah.
unless you start hitting milestones and these incentives.
And
So
then my question I was going to ask you was, do you think we'll see some schools either A, hold on to coaches, Wisconsin with their money situation, because there's so many schools with the open positions, so you're not going to get top of the tier guys? Or do you think we'll see some coaches that they're kind of on the line if they're going to be coming back or not, and they're going to fire them because they want to get into this coaching carousel this year with how wild it is?
yeah, I don't know. I mean, my initial thought when thinking about that is like some of those schools, like especially Wisconsin, like you're not gonna like. There's not that many big name coaches to go around. Like you saw it with Penn State.
Yeah.
Like they're saying like, well, we should only have this guy, or this guy. Everyone else is like a step below than what we had. Well, then maybe you shouldn't have freaking fired Franklin.
Yeah.
Like because you're not getting Urban is not leaving
No.
the freaking sports desk. Saban's not leaving the sports desk. Like Signetti already got tied up in the freaking
Yeah.
Indiana contract, like so on and so forth. So like who realistically, I don't know. I've been saying this, like I feel like if Nebraska, say if I have to use this as the example because this is where the
Yeah.
conversation that I had with Alex. If Matt Rule were to be the one that were to move on to Penn State, like who would we want? And personally, I mean, obviously from the Pat Fitzgerald thing, I think you just have to go to youthful, like a younger up and comer guy. Like that's
Yeah.
what Nebraska is. That's what Wisconsin's gonna have to be. Like and you just hope you hit it big because you're not gonna. There's the old guard of coaches
Yeah.
is dwindling. It's dwindling. Like, and it's just such a different era. I was going to talk about this on Fastlane. Like, I'm not. Does Matt Rule even fit the transfer portal era? Like in the way that he's been known to build programs, like the way he's done it before isn't relevant to the way he
Yeah.
has to do it now. So I guess do I think he fits into this era? Yes, I do. But I'm saying it's worth comparing his former build
So
jobs to what it looks like now.
when when he brought up the 30 to 40 million dollar roster, I took it as him still following his plan though, and maybe getting two or three guys from the portal, big guys. But like how he always mentions, you need that kind of money to retain your roster.
Yeah. I
Where
don't
I think
know.
he wants to continue to develop, fill the holes where needed, offensive line, um, and then develop his guys and keep those guys.
Yeah, so I have a philosophy on this, and it may not. Nope, not everybody's going to agree with this, but I think Colin was the one that said this, and It's not that I don't ever agree with him, like I do a lot, but I agreed with him to the point where he's like, you don't necessarily want to have all the rejects
Yeah,
that are, like, not calling them rejects, but the people that were evaluated to be able to be pushed out the door at these other programs, like in
yeah,
Alabama, Georgia, all this stuff. Like, I personally think that you should be going after the production in the G5 groups and
yeah,
start putting together a proverbial all-star team of freaking G5 players. I mean, that's what Signetti does.
yep,
So like, and I'm not saying that that's the only way to do it, but like, why would you, if you're Nebraska, why wouldn't you go up to South Dakota State and North Dakota State and start evaluating their O line,
yeah,
and then just be like, if you don't like what you see, then don't offer them. And you don't,
yeah,
and those guys, you don't have to offer huge money to, like you did Spindler and Pritchett,
yeah.
because
Both
they're
guys
still
Nebraska lost on Friday night.
right. But those guys from South Dakota State, North Dakota State, they still feel like they have a chip on their shoulder because they have
Yeah,
stuff to prove. So they're still like, there is a level of this whole like, well, I'm already getting paid type thing, so do I have to try as hard?
yeah.
Like you just never know with 18 to 22-year-old
I will
kids.
say, as much as I shit on Pritchett at the beginning of the year, I do think he has improved outside of bonehead freaking diving on top of guys he already pancaked.
Yeah, I'm not saying that he's like I'm not saying the opposite of you either there. Like I'm not saying he sucks or anything like that.
Oh, I did at the
Like
beginning of the year. I thought he should never play again, but
right. And
since that Michigan game, he's been probably their best offensive lineman.
well, definitely in run grades.
Yeah,
I don't know the offense. I don't know from a standpoint of pass pro, but I don't know. Like I just think that there's a couple different ways you can view this whole like transfer portal thing, and like if I was doing it, I would go look at James Madison. I would go look at Memphis. I already like Memphis's running back. Like that's who I
yeah,
would go get immediately. Like I would go look there. I would look at UNLV's a freaking North Texas quarterback. Like
yeah,
not saying specifically Nebraska, but I'm just saying, if you need those pieces, like go look
yeah.
at the G5 and
Like
instead of taking the backup
whoever takes
quarterback
over
from
the Penn
Georgia.
State job with Aller graduating, why not offer the North Texas kid?
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, that dude throws a nice ball. Like
Yeah.
I know he made some mistakes in that South Florida game that he hadn't made all year, but like
Well, heck, even Alabama. I mean, they're losing their quarterback after this year. I mean,
so I think that I don't think it's going to happen with Alabama. Like that's
yeah,
too high of a profile of like I think that like the perfect fit because the North Texas kid's still only a freshman
yeah,
and you're going to think this is nuts. Like I know Mendoza's only a junior, right?
yeah.
At Indiana. So like
But
that's
they're
a little
projecting
different.
him first round draft pick.
The guy that fits the mold in
Yeah,
Signetti's offense is freaking Drew Mestamaker from North Texas.
yeah,
And otherwise I'd be looking at like Iowa. Like Iowa is another one that I feel like their offense can go the way that with that kid's skill set.
yeah.
So
Well, so we had two more coaches fired today. Sounds like Norvell's not going to make it much longer. So who's next?
well, you have to look at Fickle. You have to look at Norvell.
Hugh Freeze.
Hugh Freeze. Oh my gosh. I saw some people talking Brian Kelly to
Yeah.
just today. They hadn't really been talking much. You called that early,
Yeah.
but like it's now starting to become more than just smoke because of
Which,
there's in the social media space anyway. So
dude, I've started seeing Sarkeesian. Like they're not happy with him in Texas.
how is he? He is not any different. No different than James Franklin. None. Zero. It's the same guy. And I said that at the beginning of the year. I said that at the beginning of the year that I feel like Sarkeesian doesn't win big games, dude. Like, and this whole like Arch Manning thing, like
Yeah.
I feel bad for the kid, but
I saw on the ticker last night, Lane Kiffin's now 0-10 against teams in the top 10. Because LSU was number 11 when they played LSU.
I
So
hate
it's a
these stats.
technicality.
These freaking stats are so stupid. Nobody's beating those teams. Like, nobody has good records against them unless you're Nick Saban, unless you're the guy that just, Jeff Brom. He's actually good against top 5.
Yeah, but Jeff Brom ain't leaving Louisville.
Right, but I'm saying, like, people want to use these things about how these guys have terrible records against top 10 teams. Well, that's because there's not very many losses inside the top 10 for there to go around.
Yeah.
And usually it's the schools that are already inside the top 10 that are beating the top 10. And so Ole Miss doesn't fit that spot yet because they haven't been under Lane Kiffin, they've been in that like top 15, not top 10.
Yeah.
Like, the majority of the time.
I know he'll never leave Louisville, but Jeff Brom would be awesome at Penn State.
No, he would not.
Oh, yeah. Well, not for us because he would start winning, but he's such a good coach.
Yeah, he is.
I mean, look, he did it at Purdue. No one wins at Purdue.
Oh, he took him to a Big West title.
Yeah.
So.
You want to do our top 30? We're over an hour.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that. It's sitting right here, and I just...
Yeah.
Here's the top 30.
So, Ohio State's number 1. Indiana's 2. Alabama's 3. A&M 4. Oregon 5. Georgia 6. Georgia Tech 7. Big game at the end of the year if those hold.
I hope that good old-fashioned hate stays just like this.
Yeah.
For that game. I did not want Georgia Tech to lose a game because I would love for good old-fashioned hate to be number 6 versus number 7.
Yeah. Miami is at 7. Or no, it is 8. Notre Dame's at 9. Ole Miss is at 10. BYU 11. Vandy 12. Texas Tech 13. Oklahoma 14. Missouri 15. 16, Illinois, followed by Virginia, Louisville, LSU, Cincinnati. 21, Michigan, followed by Tennessee, USC, Utah, and South Florida. And at 26, you have Arizona State, followed by Texas, Iowa, Navy, and Houston.
Dude, just look at the logos on there. Yeah. Look at the logos on there and be like, tell me 20 years ago that you'd ever see a top 30 that had all these logos on there, especially with perennial doormats. Indiana, Vandy, freaking Virginia. Illinois largely was not a good program, you know, like in the grand scope of things. Like Houston, Cincinnati. Oh my gosh, it's just crazy. I love
and then you have the number 3 team who has wins at number 6 Georgia, at number 15 Missouri, and then against number 12 Vandy, and then who is it? Number 22 Tennessee. Just crazy that anyone would want to put him number 1.
Yeah, but they also have a loss to a team that just lost to Stanford and is 3-4 and hasn't won a conference game in the ACC in 9 straight. So,
yeah, but to me, which means they'll probably come out and lose their next game.
What's their schedule left? Besides the Iron Bowl at the end.
Yeah, which that'll be the game Auburn wins
to save the Hugh Freeze's job.
Yep. They got South Carolina Saturday at South Carolina, home against LSU, home against Oklahoma. They might lose November 22nd. They got Eastern Illinois.
Oh my gosh.
The Iron Bowl.
Okay. Well, I think Alabama. Well, I like our national title. I mean, that's our national title pick. You know, like. So, all right.
It'll be a fun week. So we'll be back on Tuesday. Well, Wednesday.
Yeah. Thanks for being here. Thanks for listening. We will see you guys. And if you didn't, make sure you guys check out Fastlane. We're going to go over the Huskers in Minnesota tomorrow.
Like, follow, subscribe, Share with everybody.